Hey guys, episode 21 of the Flow State podcast. Today we're joined with comedian and friend of ours, Poppa Rosea. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. How are you?
What are we talking about today, Poppa?
Oh, we're talking about bikes.
Yep.
Talking about music. Talking about movies.
Yep.
Steve Irwin.
Steve Irwin, yeah.
Dinosaurs.
Crocodile skulls.
That's right.
Exactly.
It's madness. And
crazy.
Poppa's come all the way from down the road to be with us today. So you want to check out episode 21 of the Flow State podcast. We will be with you in a minute.
Enjoy.
Belt it.
Yeah. Okay. Welcome to the Flow State podcast. Today we're with Poppa. How are you, mate? Thanks for coming.
Yeah, good, mate. I'm good.
Yeah? Yeah. No, you're hungover, aren't you?
I'm a little hungover. Yeah, I just had a Coke.
Why?
Oh, I just had some friends over.
Yeah. No, why'd you have a Coke?
To try and
return.
Bring it back together.
Look, I got to admit, I texted this morning, said, what time are we starting? You said you pushed it back half an hour, and it was the greatest moment of my life.
Yeah.
Pretty excited
Yeah.
to get that extra half an hour, you know.
What's been going on, mate? What's going on? Because we've all been locked out. So most of us been locked out. You've been still at work. What's going on?
Still working, but at home. So I've been taking my son for a lot of bike rides, which has been sick.
Mm-hmm.
He's 8, and we've been doing a lot of bike riding, and he which is good. Like, he's getting better on the bike, going sometimes going up to 16 Ks and stuff. Not bad for an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
But he doesn't pay attention.
Yeah.
What he's doing. So we're on one of those dedicated bike paths or something, and he'll just run people off the path.
He's a monster. What a legend.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some lady, she was walking along. He just had his head down, just singing a song.
Yeah.
I'm like, mate, and he just didn't listen to me, and she had to go up against a fence to let him past.
How do you approach that to sort of, oh, mate, you can't do that. Is that a discussion you can have? Or is it
we
just
had the discussion, but he's annoyed at me because he thinks I care more about the people that he pushes off the track than I care about him. He's like, no, what about me, Dad? I just want to do what I want to do.
That's right.
Yeah.
Why don't you care about that?
You can do that, but we're going to have to take you to a really big empty car park.
Yeah, with no one in
Just
it.
do circles in there, you'll be right. But you won't get anywhere. Or give him one of those, those bikes that you would ride at home. You know what I mean? Those the exercise bikes.
Yeah.
And just you can get his iPad out and he can fucking do what he wants there. He'll be just riding along.
That's the interesting thing. It's you don't have everyone just expects everyone to have courtesy and stuff on the footpaths. Well, you don't have to. You're in charge. You're on the bike. You've got more momentum.
But also when you're 8, you don't worry about that stuff. You're like, I'm 8. I don't have a job. I'm not paying taxes, so I'm not paying for this road. So get the fuck off it.
It's simply how fast can I go
exactly
to make this more enjoyable for myself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And to put myself to sleep so Dad doesn't have to worry about it when I get cranky in the afternoon.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Yeah. No, he just doesn't care. He's just oblivious to other people.
What's his bike like?
Oh, it's I don't know why, but it's exactly the same as mine, just a miniature version.
Yeah, sick.
Like
Gears and stuff?
Yeah, it's got 7 gears. He's pretty excited by that.
Nice.
That's,
Yeah.
big step up. I never got a bike with gears at 8. I reckon it wasn't until high school I got a bike with gears.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kids these days, man.
I'll tell you what, they got their BMXs and their bloody mountain bikes. All that.
It was really cool to have a smallest bike possible when I was in the bike phase. Everyone would get soup up pimp their 16-inch bikes up and ride around that. It was just so hard to ride. But that was cool.
I can't really talk because I had the same bike from grade 5 till since I was 5 till about grade 6.
Yeah.
And then I had the same bike from year 7 until 2 years ago.
Do you ride it a lot?
When I first got it, I rode the fucking dollar out of that thing. I figured out, every ride that I went for so many rides that it got me down to $3 per ride. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bike was $500, and I I got $3 per ride out of this one.
Yeah, so you took it financial.
Yeah, I took it. Yeah, so now it's just sitting up there gathering dust like the Game Boy in the corner.
Yeah, but it's paid for.
It's paid for. But I still it's got that point where they go bring it back in 6 weeks and you can get a free service.
Mm-hmm.
Mate, I was too busy riding. Man, I couldn't go in for a service, mate. One time I accidentally rode to Axdale, and I'm not a fit person or whatever.
Accidentally.
Yeah, because I was just having a good time. I went the O'Keefe Trail from my place, and I was just
This doesn't look like the milk bar.
and I'm just hanging out, doing some dumb shit on my phone while I was riding and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck, it's starting to get dark. I should turn around. What the fuck am I? Welcome to Axdale. That can't be right. Oh shit, I'm at the servo here now. And I get there and it's starting to turn dark. I'm like, I can't turn around and ride back now because it's all uphill because I rolled there basically.
Yeah,
and
it is, yeah.
I hit this dude up in a ute and I'm like, hey, sorry man, are you going back to Bendigo? And he's like, I am. I said, do you mind if I chuck my bike in the back and get a lift with you. Nicest dude in the world.
Yeah.
And he dropped me off. I didn't want him to drop me off to my house, but he dropped me off right to the street that I was on, and I was like, what a legend. But yeah, accidentally rode there. Just was having such a good time that I just hooked it all the way. So
I heard from a former counsellor who was like in the Epilogue ward. They had some event at the O'Keefe Rail Trail, like in Axedale, and he so you had to you went to
Axedale to Heathcote.
Yeah,
I nearly did it, but I got knocked off my bike by a car that day, so I couldn't go.
Oh wow!
Yeah, another story. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, no, but he just told me that he goes, no way I was going to ride it, so I just chucked the bike in the back of the ute. Drove to a K away and then rode in like
what a dog!
just
fake sweat on him.
Yeah, fake sweat on him. And just
classic politician.
To cut the ribbon.
That's brilliant.
And he beat all those little kids that were on the ride too. Bastards.
Yeah, I've got the experience.
Yeah, that's right. These quads didn't make themselves.
That's funny. Biking accidents are terrific. Like I remember I had some real doozies. I remember I used to ride to school every day, and I'd go like, what your son does is just fly. Just fly, don't care about anyone else. I was probably around the same age, maybe 10, and came off, and that's all I remember. And then some older kids from the school were walking past, and they just helped me get home somehow.
That's nice.
But I was completely blacked out, knocked out, unconscious all the way. I don't remember getting home. Had all these like grazes across my face and stuff, but I do not remember what happened.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how I got home because I was completely unconscious or blacked out. But these kids helped me. Thanks, whoever you were. Yeah.
Yeah, nice kids.
Yeah.
Well, there's a young kid that lived at the end of my street, and his name was Cody, not you. He was much younger and much smaller.
Yeah.
And I remember he was coming home from my place, and I saw him go down the hill, and he got the speed wobbles, and I saw him just go whoosh, whoosh, and slid for like 10 metres. I'm like, fuck. So I ran down and helped him back up to our house, and then got his mum to come pick him up. But a few weeks later, after he'd healed up, we were doing jumps in the backyard on our bikes and stuff like that.
So it didn't deter him?
No, he was cool. He was a mad motherfucker, man. He was like one of those kids who could do tail whips at like 10.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
right.
And he was only like 7 or 8 at the time. But anyway, a few weeks later, we were down there doing jumps. I've come over the handlebars and caught the old fella on the end of it, and did not have a great time. Did not have a great time at all. It hurt. I still feel it to this day.
Really?
Very
sort
much
of like
so.
It's so vivid.
I mean, I don't feel it, but there's visual evidence of that accident.
Yeah. Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh,
it was it was an interesting time.
All right, show us, mate. Come on, show us.
Right.
So what? You've gone over the handlebars and it's clipped on that little knob thing in the center.
Yeah, but more than clipped. It was.
Did it hit the bell?
It was. Oh man, it was definitely hit the bell. It was more like how can I put this? Have you ever grabbed like sausage mince and hit it with a mallet?
I don't do it often. No.
It wasn't that bad, but like from memory, I was just like, what's going on? Looks like someone tried to burn this thing off.
Oh, so you felt like your dick was the sausage mince and someone had gone
hit it with a
a
hammer?
mallet.
Yeah. And that's when I realised how strong the human body can be for such a soft thing. Because I'm like, wow, that should be a lot worse, and I'm glad this will grow back, and it grows back. Right.
Without going into too much detail,
yeah.
What was the extent of the damage? Was it cosmetic? Was it like
just a big graze, bit of bruising, and a bit of a scar?
Did it swell up? Because that could have been beneficial.
Let's just say it numbed the feeling, so a little bit longer action there. No, it's
probably
nerve damage, severe penile nerve damage or something. No, everything went back to normal, which was great. Luckily, being a young fella, you heal a lot quicker. And if that happened to me now, I'd probably never heal. You know what I mean? Just because your metabolism, I don't know what the fuck. I'm not one of them scienticians or anything like that. But like, your body takes longer to heal as you get older. But when you're a kid, you double in size every year, right? Oh, well. Imagine if you did. You went from
everyone who's
douche. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
You ever had a massive stack? You ever had
a... Because you do a lot of mountain biking and stuff.
Yeah. I've come off a few times. Nothing too bad.
Because mountain biking's... They're crazy. They're going as fast as possible through the chicane.
Down a hill.
Yeah, I always feel like I had a mate who was a mountain biker who's like, if you're not risking coming off, you're not having fun.
Yeah.
I was like, that's not how it works.
Your reflexes have got to be top notch.
Yeah.
Because like you hit a tree and it doesn't just knock the wind out of you, a branch can go through your chest. You know what I mean?
Good point.
Wood's strong. Wood can cut cement and steel, and you know what I mean?
I remember I had one stack. I jumped off a rock, and the rock sort of gave way as I jumped off it. It was like a bit loose. So I've then lost steering, gone straight towards a tree. I've hit the tree, and my head, the tree thankfully had a fork.
Yeah.
And my head went through, and my shoulder stopped me. I was sort of like stuck in the tree, yeah.
That's the luck, man. That's you
Maybe head first.
Couldn't plan that.
Yeah, it's so lucky. And my son hit his head mountain biking the other week. So
You got a good old-fashioned stack hat?
yeah, he's got a good helmet, but it just a little graze in between his eyes. So
Yeah, shit.
just enough to scare him.
Did you ever have those proper stack hats that look like a Lego man hair cut out? You know, remember those?
No, I never got one of them because they were very uncool.
Yeah, they were.
By the stage I was in school. But some people had them and you're like...
What
Look
about
at that guy.
the mushroom head BMX ones? Those just the classic mushroom. You know, everyone had those.
the black ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was
They're still a thing.
It's still a thing,
yeah.
They look like a military sort of, ditch helmet sort of
Yeah.
thing. But like,
I never wore a helmet. And that's probably why I knocked myself the fuck out because I never wore a helmet. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not wearing
That's
a helmet.
mad.
I look stupid.
those
I used
those
to put
ones,
gel in my hair and I didn't want to mess it up for
didn't
school.
want to put a helmet on that. What about those ones that look like they look like a teardrop that they put on their heads? You know, the guys and then they put spiky things so that the magpies stop swooping them.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
yeah.
a
Those
are weird
cyclist,
looking,
like a
yeah.
cycling helmet. Like a,
Yeah. I always tried to get one of those, but not one that looked like I was fucking trying to get the world record for speed or something, you know? Those ones with a long tail on them.
not the ones that go right out the back
No,
like
it's
a
too much.
pointy mullet.
It's too much. Can't be doing
Have you been attacked by a magpie on a bike?
Oh, yeah. I punched one out of the sky once.
Oh,
cut my hand up pretty bad.
yeah.
I couldn't know what to do, man. I was like 14.
You're just panicking.
Yeah. I'm like, fuck off. Whoosh. And it's just gone, hit the deck. And
Did you kill it?
I don't think so.
Oh,
I
holy
didn't go
shit.
back to stomp on it or anything. Like, I just ran. I was like, fuck. You're trying to get home as quick as you can. Put it in fucking gear 1, so you're doing this, except the wheel only spins once every 4 rotations.
Yeah.
I got attacked by a magpie out the front of a primary. I was riding to work, so I was in my 20s or something, riding to work, and I put the pedal in myself on the bike.
Yeah.
Hadn't used the proper tools or anything, and so anyway, this pedal's starting to come off as I'm riding, and I was, in front of a primary school, and a magpie starts attacking me, and there's just these kids just watching me trying to stay on this bike as the pedal's falling off. I'm getting attacked by a magpie. Yeah.
That'd be great. That'd just be pure entertainment for kids at school. Like that all.
Nothing more humiliating than 7-year-olds laughing at you and just going, "Look at this guy."
Yeah, because an adult you can go, oh, piss off, mate. But kids you just
I can't say anything to him, can I?
you got to sort of go along with it. Haha, yeah, this is fun.
off, you little shit.
Yeah,
You can't say anything. You
just got to go.
gotta cop it.
This is fun.
do
I'm
you
having
ever-
a good time.
Do you ever have those stacks that you wish somebody had filmed? Like, you know that if you saw them back, you'd probably laugh too. I had this one. I used to live near the woolen mills, and I was riding up to go to the Home Hardware over the train line, and I could have walked, but I'm like, I'm going to take my bike. And the chain's the weakest link, right? And if your chain's old and you put a little bit too much pressure down on your left foot, and it breaks, and the foot goes forward, my face comes down and smashes into the forks, and then I just fall to the side, and boom, like that. And all the ladies having their smoke out at the woolen mill saw it, and I just heard this like, oh, come from over the road. And then they sit there for a couple of minutes like, should we check in him? And then someone just goes, you all right, love? And I'm like, yep. Just thumped, yep. And I just kind of sulked my way back home, threw the bike there, didn't touch it again. Hadn't touched it until I bought a new bike.
It scares you.
That was my year 7 bike. That was its
yeah.
last thing. I just spent $150 getting it done up. Nice seat, wide seat, so I didn't get any of that chafe up in my bumhole. And I had I love them bar ends. I always love those fucking things. Loved them. Yoinking on them while you're... And I got some I hated those grip shift gears, so I got the rapid fire top and bottom gears and stuff. And then I took it for 3 rides, and that last ride I was like, nah, we're done here.
You didn't fix the chain though. You did all that stuff.
Didn't fix the chain. Nah. It's still in the backyard of the place I'm at now. So
memories. Yeah,
bastards.
I went down a hill once, and I knew I didn't have brakes, and then I sort of just put it. I didn't think about it anymore, and I just went down this hill and went across. There's a T intersection. Went across the street, and I couldn't stop. I couldn't do anything, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm just going to take this one.
Yeah,
just hit their gutter. Just went straight over. Nearly bit me. I remember the feeling of biting your tongue.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know if I've still got a tongue because I bit it that hard. Horrible.
You ever see those kids that get around and they don't have brakes, so they use the back of their shoe? They put their foot in there. What are you doing?
The Fixies.
Yeah.
So they're they're velodrome bikes originally. So they're fixed Like you can't,
Oh,
you can't stop
right.
pedaling.
I'm talking like BMX kids.
Oh, okay. I
They'll
was
just
talking
take
about
the
like
brakes off.
the Fixies were a real big thing in Melbourne for
Yeah, right.
like for hipster sort of
Yeah,
culture.
yeah,
And
yeah.
Is that they're the ones that they generate their own momentum and they don't stop?
yeah.
Really?
And people would find their like they'd put their foot in the in the wheel and stuff to stop them. It was just crazy, and people were riding them down like Burke Street or whatever in Melbourne. Like it's just
and
like
not being able to stop.
yeah, it's just
Oof.
you're insane. It's just stupid, but.
I've seen a lot of, and the thing is I've got as much fuck cyclists in me as I've got for hey, don't fuck with cyclists in me. You know what I mean?
Like you don't like them, but you also get it.
Oh yeah, I get it because the first time I went out on my new bike in a long time, like I put it away for a couple of months, and I got out, and it's the first. I'm not a cyclist or whatever. I don't look like a cyclist. You can tell because they're slim and slender, and they got lycra on, right?
Yeah.
And this is that one where I was going to go on that Axtarter Heathkit thing. And I'm going to ride to just for a little bit of a go ride down into town to the lake or whatever, go for a lap and come back.
Yeah.
And I get down the hill from my place, and this guy in a big like 4-wheel drive goes, "Bim bim bim, fucking cyclist," and swerved at me, and I've just gone hit the gutter and just dropped and scunned me knee, my new jeans or whatever.
Yeah.
Classic. Oh, I just got these jeans. And I'm like, fuck you. And I went home. So I missed that thing because I messed my knee up.
Yeah.
But I was like, hang on a minute. I'm not a cyclist. Fuck cyclists. I'm not even a cyclist. I'm just some guy on a bike.
Yep.
I'm not necessarily a cyclist.
Yeah, and I think a person on a bike is a cyclist.
Yeah, well, I mean, like,
sort of how it works.
when you're doing your resume out, you don't write to cyclist 2010 to 2019.
It's not on your Twitter handle, like in
exactly.
your Twitter bio.
Yeah.
Avid cyclist.
Poppa, cyclist.
Yeah.
Father.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Man.
But but when you see people doing dumb shit on push bikes on the road, you just go, "What the fuck are you doing? You're giving your whole people a bad name."
Yeah.
A lot of people.
People.
When you're on a bike, you feel like I nearly got hit by a car recently. Someone just going through a roundabout. He just didn't look right, and I'm sure he, just I look back because I had to make that quick decision. Do I accelerate, like just pedal as fast as I can, or do I brake? And I thought, no, I have to just ride as fast as I can. I just yelled, I screamed because I thought I was trying to make him hear me because I didn't have obviously a horn or a little ding ding.
Yeah.
Excuse me, buddy, ding ding. So I just sort of yelled. Anyway, I looked back, and he'd sort of obviously given him a bit of a fright, but all he'd done is he had a coffee in one hand, and he just had his hand on the steering wheel, just lifted up one finger, just say, "Oh, yep, sorry, mate, saw you there, yep." Just so nonchalant.
Yeah.
Like he might have been terrified, but it just looked so casual.
Yeah, I'm in the car. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'll be fine in this one.
Yeah.
I remember a few years ago there was a guy running for council in Bendigo, and I won't drop his name here, but what he was doing, he's an avid push bike enthusiast, and being a those Madison style cyclist bikes where he wears all the gear and stuff like that. Lost a bunch of weight doing it. Good on him. And while he is running for council, someone's done him a wrong on the road, which was a dick move on their behalf. So what he did is he pulled his phone out. They clipped his elbow, right? Pulled his phone out and filmed him going up towards that person's car and kicking off their rear view mirror off the side of the car.
Oh, really?
And
Yeah.
he posted it up on like one of those Have Your Say pages and just got obliterated.
Oh, God.
Like, you idiot. Why did you do
Don't
that?
film it.
Yeah, but he's
Do
like,
it.
check this out. I got justice, and it's like, no.
Nah, they're gonna
You're not
get
going to be on the
justice.
council, mate.
Nah, that's. I had seen that one time where me and some mates were standing around, and my mate's car was there, and he said a lady rode past on a bike, and he said something real stupid like "good bike, idiot" or something like that, just so dumb. Like we're like 19, like
Primary school shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like to her credit, she just turned around. She turned around on her bike, pulled out her keys, and just ran her keys down the side of his car. It was such a baller move.
That's gangster as hell.
Like, and we just laughed at our mate and said, "Ha, she got you, mate."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you shouldn't have been a goose. Like,
fair
in
enough
a similar
too, eh?
vein, right? This is when I was about 19 in my little it wasn't a Gemini, it was a Corolla, but they're the same car. My mate in the passenger seat goes, "I fucking hate cyclists." We're approaching this guy up towards an intersection, and he hangs his head out the window and he goes, "Bah!" Just scare this guy, and the guy shit himself.
Yeah.
And he comes up to he's fucking pulled over for a second, then he's riding over to the car, and I'm just like embarrassed as fuck. And he goes, "You shouldn't bloody do that. You scared the shit out of me. I could have fallen off my bike and hurt myself." And then we got around the corner, and I just didn't know what to say, so I'm like, don't ever do that in my car again.
Yeah.
Fair enough, you hate cyclists, but
It's ridiculous.
he
isn't
could have come and kicked my mirror. This is 10 years before that happened, but he could have kicked my mirror off. He could have fucking done anything, or you could have killed him.
Could have
Don't
been.
pull that shit, you
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
idiot. But the thing is, when the guy came up, I think it scared us all. So, but it was it was just don't pull that shit in other people's cars.
And not just on cyclists. It's like people are so confident in being a a dickhead these days, and anyone out there could just be a complete psychopath with
you
a
don't
knife
know.
in their back pocket or whatever. And people are still stupidly going up to people and just calling them wankers or whatever.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
don't do that. You don't know. There's so many crazies out
And that
there.
could be the last straw for them, you know?
yeah, they could be have a real shit week, and then
Yeah.
you see it all the time.
Yeah, I am on
Leave
edge.
it.
I'm on edge every day. I'm waiting for it, you know what I mean? I want it to happen.
Someone's right.
That's right.
You're just driving around waiting for someone to cut you off.
That's right. I'm waiting for the coffee beans to be burned so I can fucking just, that's it!
Chop them up and collect all their body parts.
Yeah.
I do remember, like, I think we were driving in Melbourne and someone cut off when we were, you know, family car trips. You know, another guy cuts off our car, and Dad, you know, said a few things. Like, I don't know, something about parents in cars, particularly in Melbourne. Like, from even from the country, we're driving in Melbourne.
Everything's stressful.
everything's stressed.
Everything's stressed.
Totally.
And so he's probably given him, you know, made it obvious, probably bit the horn, made it obvious that he wasn't happy.
Yeah.
Of course, that guy goes to Macca's and we'll go into Macca's. And there's two parks, so we have to park
next to each other.
Yeah. And then the guy gets out of the car and Dad gets out of the car and he just goes, "G'day, mate." He goes, "G'day, mate." All good. There was a bit of tension there. You could just see.
Yeah,
like,
probably both waiting to see.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy could be crazy, but both people are good
Yeah,
blokes.
if you order the last Big Mac, mate, I'm gonna. That's gonna be it. This is on.
We'll let this one slide.
That'd be amazing.
Do you remember when you used to go to Melbourne or something as a kid from the country, and it felt like a big day trip? Like the new high rise in there, so it took about 2 hours, but you had to pack a lunch and like a drawing book and shit because it was just a long ass trip.
Yeah.
And you'd go to sleep, you'd have 2 naps on the way, and it felt like a fucking whole day.
Like a holiday.
Yeah.
We have a mate. I was doing Poppa's podcast, and Max, he said he's like, "Oh, I'm going to Melbourne." I was going to Melbourne on Tuesday, so I couldn't really sleep the night before. He was getting that excited about the big day.
He was nervous. He was
nervous.
Going to Melbourne, it's such a big deal.
You had to pack a lunch.
That was what it used to be like.
Yeah.
Man, going to the big city.
You'd go down with the school, with the zoo, or to the zoo or whatever. And by the way, if you like, the Melbourne Zoo it's this gorgeous piece of history, but my goodness, it's really hard to be there and just see like those gorillas. You're like, you know, those gorillas have been there for 80 years, and they're just like, fucking hell, I hate this shit.
Yeah, well, they're
You know
not
what I mean?
meant to be.
They're like, I
there.
just want to go to EB games and have a good time. That's what they're thinking.
Yeah.
But like the place,
You've been talking to him.
I just want to play GTA.
I've heard about this. But yeah, that place, like the way that it's built, I would love to have seen it in its like super prime, because like the way that they build those things, like everything's a stone wall and all that kind of stuff. It's like Jurassic Park. You know what I mean? Like you go into this place and all the heritage shit, you're like, this is awesome, man. You can imagine people with their little frilly umbrellas and their bottices and stuff like that, all having a little picnic, having a high tea and stuff like that. But imagine going to those places at that time. That'd be sweet.
I was a union organizer at the Melbourne Zoo.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, which meant I could go around and like, you know, walk in behind all the scenes. I just go in with my union shirt and my you know, to show. Yep.
Is that to look after the staff working at the zoo?
The zookeepers, they're very underpaid.
Yeah, right.
Are they really?
Yeah, because it's such like there's the demand. Like people want to work in a zoo.
Yeah.
Like, and you know,
Who wouldn't? Yeah, it's like a dream job for most people. I think.
Exactly. Like people love animals. So
I know.
and like they do a lot of good. Like yes, I agree. Like, you know,
Yeah.
caging animals is horrible, but they do a lot of good like conservation work in the background.
Education stuff. Yeah.
And conservate, like, you know, they were like trying. You know, I knew one of the guys, one of the delegates was like trying to, you know, there was an endangered frog in Mount Borbor, and he was doing work around that. So they did some cool stuff as well. But
Trying to rebuild the population of animals. Yeah, conservation.
But like the thing with when you got a union site and you're trying to like get people to join the union, you map out they call it mapping the site.
Yep.
And you know, you just say if you're doing like, I don't know, just a factory, you might go, shift 1 and then shift 2, and you know, like, but because it was a zoo, it was mapped by animals.
Yeah.
So it was like, you know, there was we had like 20% membership in gorillas and 100% membership in lions. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And like,
that's
and the assistant secretary of the union used to come in and just look at the map. He goes, "Oh, I just love that map. Just love map. Yeah, we've got a map of a union site, based on animals,
gorillas, and
carnivores. Yeah,
it's dictated by the animals.
Yeah.
Do people want to go and see like the African animals? Because that's what zoos always were. It was like giraffes, tigers, lions, gorillas,
rhinoceros, all that,
rhinos and all that kind of stuff. And like everybody really wanted to see those kind of animals. But I wonder what it's like now. Like, do they want to see, you know, particular types of animals more than the others? Because like those lions are getting old, and everyone's like, I want to hear the lion roar. Clap for me, monkey.
Yeah,
all that kind of stuff. But I'm like, I wonder. Australia Zoo, I think, is probably a pretty good example of that. You know, it's got Terry Bindi and Bobby Irwin and Bindy's new
And a heap
partner,
of
Chandler.
massive crocodiles.
You know a lot about Bindi.
Oh, I know a lot about the Irwins. Yeah, they're fucking fantastic.
You've kept up.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, no, they're good.
Stayed in the loop.
And the funny thing is, Bindi Irwin's husband looks exactly like her dad, but with brown hair, like with darker hair.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Looks exactly the same. But yeah, they do a lot of cool shit. And like, actually, there's someone we should try to get on here. This lady I know, Rachel Morton. She's in charge of the amphibians at the moment at the Melbourne Zoo. Very smart lady, knows what she's doing, and she educates a lot of people on that stuff. But she'd be interesting to have a chat with. Or see if I can hook her up.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Expect a message.
Yeah. I went to Dublin Zoo, and I've been to zoos all over the place, and they're all frightfully similar to each other.
Yeah, right.
Because they've all got, you walk in and you get the brochure with the map, and they all look the same. It's like, I'm in Dublin, Ireland, vastly different place to Australia. But once you walk in the zoo, it's like, it's just like the Melbourne Zoo. Everything, like you almost think you're there. They had the lion. This is going back 30s, 40s, I'd imagine. They had the lion from the Metro Goldwyn.
Right.
The MGM.
That's awesome.
Lion that used to live there.
Oh,
that's cool.
He was theirs.
He was Dublin Zoo. Yeah.
OG, the original lion.
Yeah. Do you remember that they actually had like the cardboard cut out with the hole, and they put it on a stage and had it on a chain, like, do the thing, do the roar.
It took them ages to do that. Apparently, not even apparently, Steve Irwin, who I know a little bit about, he was sued by MGM for when he did the Crocodile Hunter movie.
He had the crocodile in
He had a crocodile in there, and they sued him for the copyright against it.
Fair enough.
Oh.
And he's like, he went on like Jay Leno or something like that. And he's like, I heard MGM tried to sue you. Tried to sue me, mate. They did sue me. And he says stuff like, you're friends with Paul Hogan, what was that, his show?
The Crocodile Dundee.
Crocodile Dundee. And he goes, nah, mate, I wouldn't be friends with them. They're poachers, mate. You don't want to be friends with poachers. They're doing the wrong thing.
Oh, because he was a poacher.
Yeah, because he's like, no, he's a wildlife, enthusiast, and Mick Dundee was a poacher. He's like,
killer.
no, mate, they're the guys I'm trying to stop. And yeah.
But it was a badass scene when Mick Dundee jumped in and stabbed that croc in the middle of the head. Isn't that what he did? He jumped in.
But like, what a classic way to just villainize these living dinosaurs, you know what I mean? Like, get the fuck out of their swamp, Shrek style.
Yeah,
get out of my swamp!
I always thought it was so crazy watching Steve Irwin just nonchalantly jump on the back of an 8-foot gator, a crocodile, and start wrestling with it, and just like, he's going a bit crazy.
That's right.
Yeah, he is going just a little bit crazy, foaming at the mouth and shit.
And as you can see, I'm going to pick it up by the tail and watch out. Oh, it's going to get me. But like, apparently he was like that all the time, That's how he ate breakfast too, Like, you know what I mean? These eggs, look at that. They came from chickens. Look at them. Wow. They're nice and milky yolks. And
just commentates everything he does.
He was a living legend, 100%. I liked everything that Steve Irwin did. He probably, I don't know, did he do a lot of good for animals?
Yeah.
Probably more good than bad, but I wouldn't say he was completely...
I'm not we'll have to ask the expert over here.
That's right.
You know Steve.
Steve, Matt, I'll channel him. Hey, Steve, what did you do?
Yeah.
Crikey. He made crikey, like, over the world over. When you would ask people about Australia, and that's the thing, is he did a lot for tourism as well. Yeah. When people, you go, hey, Australia, and they go, oh, crikey. That's all they knew, and they knew that's not a knife, that's a knife. And they were two crocodile blokes, right?
Yeah, it's all crocodile
and shrimp on the barbie, which nobody does, because, shrimp's disgusting.
Well, they don't call them shrimp in Australia.
We call them bloody yabbies, hey?
Yabbies. Garlic yabby pizza.
Garlic yabby pizza. Prawns. So I wouldn't know because I can't eat seafood.
Oh, yeah.
It's nasty.
Well, going back to what we were saying, there's like people are very interested in the African savanna animals, aren't they, when they go to the zoo?
Because they're beasts. I mean, think about what
stripes
animals you know
and
of.
Spots and long necks and shit.
What animals do you know of that are the size of a car around Australia?
None now.
Yeah, that's right.
But megafauna.
Yeah, it used to be.
Be. Wombats used to be the size of a
really
beetle.
That's sick.
They used to have these megafauna.
Yeah, they had the marsupial lion. Like there was that,
This is millions of years ago, right?
I don't know, thousands.
Thousands?
I think it was only like maybe 4,000 to 10,000 years ago. Something.
Really?
Yeah.
That's mad.
Insanity.
That's crazy. Did people used to ride them and shit? Like, were they tameable or what?
I wasn't there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I saw this thing about how New Zealand was a entire continent called Zealandia, and it stretched almost all the way up to like Queensland, and you could basically canoe across it. And it was like this giant thing. And then obviously what became New Zealand was the highest point of that, and it had all flooded over time or something like that. I'm like, that's amazing shit.
So it was just island mass all the way to...
And Australia was, connected up to Papua New Guinea.
Yeah,
There was a land bridge there, and Tasmania was part of Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was almost...
Tasmania was part of Australia.
Not anymore.
Excommunicated.
So you could almost literally walk from the northernmost point of Australia to these Papua New Guinea's islands. And
That's sick.
And what about the moa? The large, was it the moa, the large eagle in New Zealand? It was like so big.
Yeah.
It was so. Oh no, actually no. It was a. Yeah, okay. Just cut this out because I don't know what I'm talking about.
What about like?
No, there was a huge eagle that, like, there was stories that it could pick up children and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
it was.
Oh, right. Yeah, I think I've
so-
heard of that. It would
yeah.
swoop in and take kids from the backyard and stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's animals that can do that now. Like Australia has an eagle. Well, I don't know what type of eagle it is, but it's a big old motherfucker. I've seen one on the road
A
before.
wedge tail.
Is it a wedge tail?
They're huge.
They're like a metre tall.
Yeah, wedge tail eagles.
I
are
saw one on the
massive.
side of the road once when on the way back to Melbourne. They actually built the highway through an eagle's nest, which they weren't allowed to do, but they just did anyway.
Yeah.
And they're not there anymore. But I remember in the first days of that highway being where it is,
Yeah.
you could see the nest. And I remember just seeing one standing on those rope things that are on the side of the road.
Yeah.
And it was just
weighing
like,
it down.
I was like ready to call like fucking yowie hunters or something. I'm like, what is this?
They're massive.
Yeah.
They're massive. And like, I was going for a job at the local news, and we went and filmed this guy who's just a wedge tail eagle. He does conservation work with them, like rescues them if they can't fly or whatever.
Yeah.
Takes them into his house, just has them living with him.
Full on.
And he brought it out for the news piece, and the journalist is shitting herself because it's like, and I was a little bit too, because this thing was not happy.
Yeah.
But it was genuinely that big, just sitting on his arms, and the claws were digging in like a pterodactyl.
Yeah.
And it's foaming at the mouth as well, just wants to eat us, And I was just like, yeah, these things are crazy.
It makes you
Was
wonder.
he like he was bringing them, like he was recuperating them or something after they'd been injured, or
Yeah, that's right.
Rehabilitating
and then releasing them
Not-
afterward.
not just making them live in his house?
I don't know. He was a bit of a weird sort of operator.
Yeah, mate, you got to be a psycho to be able to injure something that could kill you like that. You know what I mean? How do they get injured?
Yeah.
They must be falling off of other animals or something.
Hit by a car,
Yeah.
maybe.
But it was
I reckon they'd break the car.
It was quite nice because there was this one who was just getting to go back into. They've got this massive long, 50-meter long cages where they can actually get a bit of flight, and we released it into that. And there was another one in there already who'd been sort of on the path to recovery. And as he released, they were a bit nervous, like, oh, they either love each other or they're gonna attack each other. First thing they did was just flew up next to each other and just started like kissing.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, that's
a bit of
good. That's
kiss.
what you want to see.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. It's like, and then they just got along, and it's
Yeah.
like, yep, we can close the door on that one, and that's it.
Awesome.
It was good for a news piece because it was like,
Yeah.
yeah, sign off on that. That's
Instead of
nice
having
to
to
put a shot of it.
put a trank in one of them and pull the other one out. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It makes you wonder about where, like, if that's where the dragon myth came from. I mean, I know there's some pre-Raphaelite art which depicts like one of the kings who killed a dragon.
Yeah.
Came back and said, "I've killed this dragon," and turns out he went to like Indonesia and saw a Komodo
Yeah,
or something like that, and they're like, it had a wingspan like this, and over years of time, it's gone. Oh, it's got had a 6 foot, 10 foot wingspan. It's like, no, the thing was 10 foot long and it might have had webbed toes. And it was just like
Yeah.
a big lizard. And they're like, no, I slayed this dragon and I'm going to bring its head home and stuff like that.
yeah, exactly.
But then you've got obviously these big imposing birds with a 3 meter wingspan, 2 meter wingspan, whatever. Put all those
threatening.
together.
It's threatening.
Yeah, you get
Those
that-
condors are
that stuff.
huge.
They're massive. Do the condors still exist?
Yeah, I've seen them in South America.
Yeah, right.
Like you go to this Colca Canyon, which is like the deepest canyon in the world, and yet they come up on the thermal springs. They're
Yeah, really?
beautiful and
So
just
they just
amazing.
float up.
Yeah, because they're so heavy, they can't just I think they're so heavy that they struggle to get themselves off. They
Yeah.
need the thermals to get higher.
It's crazy.
Going back to the crocodiles, I
Yeah.
just remembered this story. In an old job, for a politician, some of the work you would do would help people with Centrelink, and we had helped this guy with his Centrelink. Or
Yeah.
one of my colleagues did. She helped a guy with his Centrelink, and he was very thankful. He said, "I'm going to bring in a present." She's like, "No, you don't have to." He's like, "No, I'm going to bring in a present." And so he comes in. This guy, I think he was from the Northern Territory originally. He comes into the office, to a member of Parliament's office, with a giant crocodile skull.
Yeah.
and she's like, "Is that for me?" And he's like, "Oh, well, you can't keep it. It's just to look at."
Yeah, right.
That was the present that she could look at the fact that he had a crocodile skull. and she was like, she was quite young, this lady, maybe 19.
Yeah.
She was just doing a gap year before she went to uni and
Yeah,
stuff, working with us. And I could sense she was feeling awkward. So I went up there and sort of interacted with him so she
Yeah.
could leave, because
Yeah.
she's like, "Well, this guy's creepy."
Take over.
Get him out of here.
Yeah, I like to think
This is almost like, this is what I'll do to you if you don't help me next time.
Yeah, I
I'll
like to
collect
think
skulls.
I like to think he caught the bus in.
What are you doing there, mate? Can I see your Mikey? Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
What a weird idea that you think that would be the Like that's a present.
Yeah,
to show someone
Yeah.
your skull.
Want to see me skull?
I've got loads of them at home. Not just crocodile ones. Yeah, what a crazy person. It's like you were talking about how you could be, the dragon thing before.
Yeah.
It's like, I originally thought Komodo dragons were just lizards.
Yeah.
I genuinely thought that, they were like bigger lizards, like an iguana.
What
or
are
something.
they then?
They're 7 foot fucking long.
Oh yeah, but they're still lizards, right?
Yeah, they're lizards, but I thought they were lizards.
No, they're lizards.
They're dinosaurs.
Yeah, they're dinosaurs, like crocodiles. Yeah, but have they got softer skin? I mean, you didn't go out and fucking handshake one, but their skin looks softer than the big hard scale.
Yeah, it looks like sort of flabby and
Yeah,
you could grab it. It'd be sort of soft and
yeah,
nice.
like a bearded
snake.
dragon.
Yeah, like a bearded dragon, exactly. Yeah. But what they do is they fight, they punch on, like Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield. That's what it looks like, and then they flick their 2 meter long tail into each other's ribs, and really, they fight all the time and they eat each other, and they eat kids. Like they're renowned for sneaking into villages, and they've eaten people.
Jeez,
That's terrible.
Yeah, it should be more horrifying to know that these things are on the planet, but no one talks about it. Like I thought it was just a lizard.
I was really looking forward to travelling to Indonesia. Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Don't go, not to Komodo.
I was great at Indonesian at school. I was like, I got to meet the friggin' the Governor General.
Of Indonesia?
No, of Australia.
Oh, right.
Was it the Lord Mayor or the Governor General?
Governor General.
I went to a Lote Awards thing and
because Lote was
language other than English. We were Indonesian at our school.
Oh yeah, we had the Indonesian.
And I was like that good at it, and that they took me and a couple other kids on the trip, or maybe because my dad was on the school council and it looked good, or whatever. I don't know.
Maybe
one of the two. But I continued with that up until about year 10. And I kicked ass at it. I should have kept on with it, but didn't do it.
You should go to Indonesia if you haven't.
I'd love to.
Yeah, because it is phenomenal. Not just like Bali's great, but like getting out and seeing other parts of Indonesia off the coast of Bali, like Lombok or stuff like that. It's great. Love it. Beautiful place. Beautiful place. Yeah, shitty lizards.
I want to go get a kilo bag of Copico lollies. Bring them back. Remember those little coffee lollies, little coffee toffees?
Delicious.
So good.
Yeah.
That was a highlight of my. Did your Indonesian teacher bring them in?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Straight from Indonesia too. She'd get off the plane, come to school, and like pop these off like ecstasy tablets.
I don't think I've had them.
They're great. We should go and get a bag from. They can sell them at Coles, I think now.
Yeah.
Okay. What are they? Little cola drops?
They're little lolly toffees, but they're coffee flavored.
Coffee flavored.
Coffee flavored, yeah. And that was a highlight of Indonesian for me. I loved the teacher would pull them out.
Yeah.
I'd be studying hard to get this, getting my phrasing right.
Kopiko, Copico.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because copy is Indonesian for coffee. Yeah,
and a big black bag with a red stripe across it, and Copico written across.
Yeah, I've seen them. Yeah, definitely
love them.
Definitely
love
really
them.
popular.
So
yeah,
good.
they're delicious.
I'd be very happy. Did you guys have to learn? What languages did you have to learn at your school?
German. Yeah. Because I went to a few schools, so German at one school, which was a year worth. Indonesian for the whole primary school years, and then Indonesian again, and a little bit of Japanese in my prep grade 1 days, which I would have liked to pursue Japanese.
Yeah, same.
I wish I had stayed at that school just for the fact that I could talk Japanese.
Watashi wa skoshi wakarimasu. I understand a little, that's about it.
Yeah, okay, yeah. The interesting thing about Japanese language is that every syllable is treated with the exact same amount of time and cadence.
Mm-hmm.
How in our language we draw out certain syllables and sort of make it like a thing. Everything in Japanese is just da 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 at the same. Right. Unreal.
That's cool.
Hard to learn.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Interesting.
I did Italian, but in primary school, but then changed schools and then did Indonesian. So
did you know Italian a little bit from Nonna or anything like that, or was that sort of washed out?
Not.
Yeah.
Even Dad doesn't speak Italian.
Yeah, okay.
He did it as a child because that's all they spoke at home originally. But
but it's gone.
Once he went to school.
My dad's been doing Italian lessons for most of my life. I don't know if that means he's got a secret like drug life or some shit, but going to Italian lessons, you know what I mean? But he still goes, and they don't now because everything's off. But I know people that he goes to Italian with and all that kind of stuff. It could be like a secret society, but
it's a sexy language.
Yeah, I
reckon.
I think it could be and it can be, but I think Spanish and shit is probably sexier. Obviously, French is the standard everyone goes for, and it's good. It's good to know a little bit of everything. But I
want to learn Spanish because I travelled around South America for 5 months.
Yeah,
and
It'd be very helpful to know Spanish in any part of South America, really, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and like I spent 3 months in Brazil, which is Portuguese, so like it was hard because like they're similar languages, but yeah, like I probably had like 300 or 400 words I could sort of use. Like I remember one lady was trying to talk to me, and I thought she was telling us to move, like we had like a caravan thing. And I thought she was trying to tell us to move that so I can get to my house because I could pick up enough words. But what she was saying is, I like your your car house. And I was like,
all right, I'll move it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I like your car house. I'm fucking sorry.
Yeah.
One of my teachers told me at primary school that the reason that we learn Indonesian rather than something else, and this was kind of interesting because it's kind of like they lost hope for this next generation of people. They said Indonesia is the closest non-English speaking language country. And it's the one you're most likely to travel to because it's closest. And I'm like...
Is that why?
I was like, really? I'm like, you got no hope for people that they wouldn't want to travel any further than the closest non-English speaking country? Or was it like a ploy for Tourism Indonesia? Teach them all the language so they will be comfortable when they come here or something.
I would imagine that it's sort of like like an easier language to learn, maybe, from an English standpoint, because it's sort of... It's not like Japanese where you got to learn these cadences and stuff. And
I think it is meant to be one of the easier languages to learn. Apparently, like in politics, I was talking to one of like a senior politician for the Labor Party in federal politics, and like when they were getting ready to take on ScoMo in the last election, and a lot of like the treasurer, like the assistant treasurer and people like that, they were all learning Indonesian in preparation for when they're going to be in government, because they're such a big trade partner, and there's so much opportunity to like do business with Indonesia, and if they learnt all the language, that would kind of really help them in terms of doing deals from Australia to Indonesia. But they didn't win the election, so that was a real waste of time, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. We want our money back.
Bali,
we want that. We want our loat money back.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think they're just doing it by themselves. Like just like a group of them were learning.
They got those. They went to Aldi and picked up those little packs, little CD packs in the booklet, and they've all got the Indonesian ones, so you couldn't get those.
Yeah.
Not Duolingo. They weren't doing it on the app. No, they were doing it off CDs.
I did a couple of Duolingo ones. They were a lot of fun.
I did it for about 3 months.
Yeah, but like
trying to learn Italian.
Nothing because it's on your phone. You don't soak the shit in. You know what I mean? If it was
forget it
in a learning environment where you had pressure, but it's just on your phone like a game, so you don't remember all the stuff.
I think the easiest way to do it would be to live in the country.
Yeah, just go there.
It's like through necessity, and you've got to remember it now because it's like, how do I order a coffee again?
But imagine the first people to learn other languages. They just had to go there and like, I think they mean pineapple. Pineapple's an interesting one because pineapple in every language except for English is ananas or some variation. And here,
every other language,
pineapple. It's like anana or anas or ananas or something like that. And in English, it's pineapple.
Yeah.
How stupid is that? Every other language, it's variation of that. And here it's pineapple.
What's the origin of language? Where does it all come from?
Grunting and slapping the meat together and humming at the same time until somebody understands.
Yeah.
That's what's really weird about this whole arrangement. There's 3 guys here, and all we're doing is going, and eventually, you know what I mean? You put those together and you get
that's what it
what
does
we're
sound
doing
like
now.
to the listeners.
Yeah, right.
May as well be us just going.
So, you know when you're on the edge of sleep and you're listening to something and eventually all the words don't make sense? That's what I feel like aliens would be like listening to English radio.
Yeah.
Like, or any Earth radio. It's just, there's a lady on YouTube while I'm on a rant who she does what other languages sound like to people from not that country.
Yeah, it's
and she does an
interesting,
English one and you think you can understand her and you're like, holy shit, she sounds like she's speaking English.
It's bizarre because you're like, oh yeah, she's speaking English, but she's not. She's just talking like a Sims character.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay.
That's a good one. Sims character.
But she uses these cadences and rhythms that different languages use.
And she does an American accent as well. And she does Japanese and she does a bunch of Eastern Europeans as well. Fucking brilliant.
With no actual words. It's all
no
just
words. Yeah. How do people, like, her brain's wired in some wacky ass way.
Yeah.
We should try to find that and insert it into this because it's, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll play that at the end.
Yeah. Because that's
I'm
really cool.
going to YouTube it.
You have to.
It's
have
cool.
To see
it's
it.
cool.
Very, very cool. I enjoy it very
People
much.
are pretty impressive with some of the stuff like that they can do. It's like you say, brains wired differently. Like they think Hendrix's brain was just, that one of those musical brains. I think you probably have. Would you say you have more of a musical?
Not like Hendrix's because he had a lot of heroin in his brain too.
Acid in the cut on his head or whatever.
But like the thing is that guy was a necessity thing. Everyone's like, I'm going to get an upside down guitar. And it's like he did that because he couldn't find or afford a left-handed one. These guys were born from necessity. Larry Graham invented slap bass because he didn't have a drummer. He didn't have the kick, so he thumbed it, and he didn't have a snare, so he popped it. Boom, ding, 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 boom, ding, ding.
Yeah, well,
these guys came.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and the beatboxing guys too. You know, they were just wanted to rap and stuff and hang out and do beats
Make
with
their
their
own
friends,
beats.
so they started doing it with their mouth. But Hendrix, you know, he pulled all that stuff out of thin air because that's what he wanted to do.
Yep.
And those guys are incredibly focused at what they do. You know, a young guy who used to play in a band with Twiggy Hunter I've known him since he was 13 years old, and he has never had anything but this one focus in his mind about what he wants to do. And now here he is, 25, 26, 27 years old, whatever he is at the moment, and he's done it and he's doing it and he's still on his way to doing it because he didn't do anything but that. In a band called Ocean Grove, if you are interested, go and check Twiggy out. He's a machine. And the Beverly Chills.
I think, you can definitely see that in people who are obsessed with their craft or whatever it is.
And they'll do it.
Comedians especially, as you and I know, Poppa, it's like we're obsessed with it, and that's why we're able to write jokes and do comedy shows, because it's sort of, you do become obsessed, and it's like every day you're like, oh, that's funny, I might write that down, whereas other people would just go, that's funny.
And then leave it, and then go back about their soul-crushing jobs.
Yeah, it's like that. It's is it Malcolm Gladwell who wrote that book, The Outliers, about the 10,000 hours.
Yeah,
and it's the people, as you say, like who get obsessed with something and just spend all their time. Like there's a lot of luck as well, like about timing and all that sort of stuff.
That's it.
You know, like Hendrix came through. Like if you could be a brilliant guitarist now, but you're not going to become as famous as Hendrix because
everyone's done everything.
Yeah, guitar music is just not is not as popular now.
Exactly.
It's everything's much more computer based and all sorts of
Very
stuff.
much so.
But if so there's timing, like someone like Hendrix who was obsessed and it was at the right time. They talk about that with he talks about in the book. He talks about like Bill Gates. He talks about Steve Jobs, those sort of people who got like Bill Gates got access to a coding machine that could do multiple coding, like really complex coding at his local school at 14 or something, and it gave him this opportunity to learn coding when everyone there was hardly any of those machines around in the whole world. And he just happened to have one near him, and he's obsessed with coding, and he just spent all his weekends, all his spare time doing that, and that's how he became,
Well, you think
richest man
about
in the world.
Think about all the best people in the world at one thing, right? There's always someone who's the best at the time, right? There's probably another 50,000 people in the world that are better than them, but their opportunities didn't line up the right way. Like, they probably put 10,000 hours into it, but who can come across 10,000 hours these days, especially if they haven't started at a younger age?
Yeah.
And then you've got those situations like the guitar thing. You even if you've got 10,000 hours to put into guitar, I don't feel like there's a lot of stuff that you can do that's new with that. I mean, I'm not saying that it's impossible, but right now it's very hard to pull something new out of the bag. I'm not even saying this person's done anything new, but John Mayer, was the biggest thing to the Stratocaster since Eric Clapton happened to it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then this guy, Danny Gatton, he was a Telecaster player, and he was like the biggest thing since fucking James Burton from Elvis's band and shit like that. But it's really hard, and I think that's why a lot of people are moving away from guitar music, for example, is because everybody in this room plays guitar to some extent. You play, yeah?
Nah.
Sure you do. So anyway.
for the sake of the conversation,
But yeah, of course you do.
We all play.
But
I shred, man. Yeah.
For every person you know who does anything to do with music, a big percent of them are going to be guitar players. You don't know a lot of people that go, nah, I play bass, just bass, and I don't even own a guitar, I just play bass.
Yep.
There's always going to be someone who has a guitar or someone who's interested in other types of music, but there's not a whole lot you can do that's going to be new with that stuff besides those 4 chords everybody uses and all that kind of stuff. So people move away from that stuff and try to make new music. Like when Skrillex hit the scene, it wasn't my bag, but like you were like, hey, that guy came from an emo band and now he's doing this stuff. That's amazing and impressive. I don't like it, but it's impressive as fuck.
Yep.
And then you get those guys who move into that synthwave scene, for example, from there where they've gone, okay, we're going to take this retro approach to doing this modern type of music, which turned out to be a lot of it. And you get into that darker stuff is essentially just metal, but with a different instrument. So you get people who can feed these industries and feed these things into newer ways of doing them, but they're not just guitar players anymore. They're not just keyboard players anymore.
I think Tool's an example of that. It's like pretty... you could say they're probably generic in some ways of their music, but they've also they've gone, no, but we can do it a little bit different, in terms of their drumming and stuff like that we were talking about last week with Tom. But would you say that?
They can add. It was 2 weeks ago, by the way.
2 weeks. And get it right, mate.
Well, think of Tool is a way for people who are interested in like people say Tool fans are smart. I'm sure they are. I don't know because I don't like do IQ.
Every single one of them.
Yeah, I don't do IQ tests on Tool fans, right?
No, you have to be one. You've got to do the IQ test.
Yeah, is that right?
Yeah.
That's the tool. Like it's in the booklet. You have to do it.
Yeah, that's
but
right.
like apparently I don't understand a lot. I listen to it and it's pleasing, but I can't comprehend the time signatures they use and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
that's a very jazz musician sort of thing, doing weird shit.
But
if they make it accessible and
Experimental.
pleasing to listen to, and then you got Maynard's voice over the top, which is kind of lulling you into something that you're interested in. But they take this approach, and then you later on you learn about the concepts that their entire album they did was a fractal piece, which the length of the times, the structure of the songs, and then how fast they went, all that kind of stuff. You're like, oh,
yeah,
this
it's
is
too
retarded.
much. Yeah,
And then when you think of it that way, you're like, that exact thing could have occurred naturally somewhere if it was based on that Fibonacci thing. You know what I mean? Even though it was four guys doing a job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But
for sure.
the Tool's a cool thing. I never got into them, but like, fuck, they're indisputably amazing what they do. Danny Carey's a freak.
Yeah, it's sort of genius. I think it's genius level stuff. Yeah.
Totally.
I reckon you'd really like the Dissected podcast. Have you listened to that?
The funny thing is a lot of people ask me about what other podcasts I listen to, but I don't really have a lot of time to listen to podcasts. So we do these ones. I tune into these when we put them up. But I listened to one case file on the Silk Road. And
That
then
was sick.
every now and again when
I haven't
there's
listened
someone
to
on the
that.
Joe Rogan one that I like, I'll have a look at that. But I don't often have a lot of time to listen to it.
Dissected. The guy goes through. He's a musician himself, and he goes through Kanye's my dark, Twisted Beautiful Fantasy. I think it's called the 2010
Early album?
Yeah, 2010. Like it was his fifth album, I think. But he goes through that every single song and the meaning of the lyrics and how he's come, where the beats came from originally, and how he's changed them. Where he's
Dissection.
got the but it's like really in depth. It's really interesting, and like it was interesting for me with someone with no musical knowledge or
That's
talent.
a full case study. That's like
It's
cool.
It was like 16 episodes. Goes through the whole thing.
That sounds a lot like homework to me. When the teacher gives you something, they're like, all right, I want you to go home and listen to Kanye's album. And I want you to do me a fucking 1,000-word thing on each thing. You're like, oh man, but these guys are doing it for fun now.
It's great.
Does he do like lots of different artists?
Yeah, I think he's doing Beyonce at the moment. He's done Kendrick Lamar in the past. I think he's done. Seems to be mainly like
hip hop, R&B, rap stuff. Yeah,
exactly.
But still, man, like I don't know. I listened to a Kendrick Lamar song a little while ago, and it was 2 years ago. It's the only like few that I'd listened to, and I've just gone, this stuff is for drug addicts. Because I heard it and I was like, it was like the beat changed like 3 times over the 2-minute period, and the lyrics I could not fucking make heads nor tails of them.
Yep.
And then I heard this other song with him on it. It was beautiful. It was like this nice actual song, but this other one was like, I'm all scattered. Yeah. I'm scattered. And then the song would change again. I was like, what the fuck, man? I feel like I just took my first hit of meth and I just can't focus and I'm getting really itchy and shit. But then I heard him on a Mayor Hawthorne song and I'm like, damn, that's fucking that's hot shit. That's hot shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd never got the Kendrick Lamar thing. And that Drake thing, I never got into that as well.
Nah, no, never got into Drake.
But everyone tells me I look like Post Malone. Never heard any Post Malone. Heard it. I was like, I can see why people like it, but whatever. Then I saw him and Travis Barker from Blink-182 doing that Nirvana thing, and I'm not a huge Nirvana fan. I sound like I don't like anything because I've said like I don't like Tool, mate. Don't like Kendrick Lamar. Don't like Nirvana.
I like Michael Jackson.
I like Michael Jackson.
I like listening to my own podcast though.
Yeah, I'll listen to my own podcast on a Wednesday, and then I have a wank, and then we do a live stream. But just to clear that up, I only watch it like I'm watching with you now, so I can talk to you in the comments, which you should be fucking doing.
Yeah, that'll work.
So I can call you a piece of clays in the comments. But like the Nirvana thing that Post Malone did with Travis Barker made me go, I could probably listen to Nirvana. I reckon I could get into that.
Yeah.
But like something about Kurt's voice doesn't sit with me, but I would go back and listen to it and then I'd go, they should do a reunion show as Foo Fighters essentially, because all the Nirvana guys are in that, with Post Malone singing the Nirvana covers, and they would sell that shit out.
Yep.
Because like you're getting the Foo Fighters fans, you're getting the Post Malone fans, and you're getting Nirvana fans. That's going to be a massive show.
Yeah.
It'll be huge. And that guy was like the biggest thing in the world at that point, or at the moment, It's crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But
my son really got into his that Sunflower song.
is that Post Malone?
Yes, Post Malone. It was the one that was on the Into the SpiderVerse.
Oh yeah, right. That was a great movie. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't. I want to though,
mate.
Yeah, it looks good.
I love Spider-Man A and
Actually,
B.
that could be my
movie.
afternoon with the young fella.
Please, oh, dude, chuck it on.
Yeah, he'll be happy to watch it with me.
It's the best. Miles Morales is Spider-Man, and he finds Peter Parker. And I'm not going to give you the full rundown, but animated movie, fucking brilliant. Things like how to develop the character by going, okay, Peter Parker's going to be in 24 frames a second standard animation, but we're going to put Miles Morales in at 12 frames per second because he's not quite developed yet in his skills, so they make him look a little more janky.
Yeah.
Shit you don't even notice until you go, oh, well, I'm going to watch the special features. It's great. It's so good. Kingpin's in it. Oh,
there's my afternoon done.
Get it in there.
Do that.
Grab a Big Mac on the way out.
Yeah.
Pull it apart
Cure
with
that
your
hangover.
lips.
But yeah, exactly. But yeah, let's wrap that one up. You can get home and watch that Spider-Man.
It was fast, man.
Movie. Yeah, it
was
good.
a quick one.
Yeah, get that McDonald's into you and
That's right.
cure yourself up.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No worries.
Thanks for coming, man.
Thanks. It was good.
It's awesome. Oh, we should probably mention too, podcast.
Yeah,
Poppa's got one of those too.
Coming soon.
Yeah.
Coming soon. So yeah, I think it would have launched the first one.
By the time this is out.
Yeah. By the time this is out, the first one would have launched. So I think we're launching it this week. So
Sweet.
we've done 5 episodes already. Up the River podcast. So
Nice.
Up the River podcast.
Nice.
Where can you get that one?
on
iTunes?
all your favourite podcast apps.
That's right.
Excellent.
Hoping.
Let's do that.
Belted up the river.
Belt it up the river. Remember, don't shoot yourself, guys, and stay away from the aliens. This has been the Flow State podcast. Belt it up your ass.